literally did not have a spare evening night in such a long time, because we were preparing to get carpets fitted and various other things happening and needed doing, so I was just basically just exhausted when it came to the end of the day. And yeah, so apologies on that front. If anything, it's been a miracle that I've only missed the one upload. There shouldn't be any more, to be fair, because carpets have been fitted. This room now has much better sound. I just need to put up curtains behind me and we will be pretty much there. And I think moving forward this will be one of two filming backgrounds. I'll adjust it slightly so there's probably a little bit more of the light in and sort of more curtains, less poster. But we'll work it out as we go. And then the second filming location will be in the second bedroom, which we've made really great progress on. I think that'll be quite a nice location with a bit more depth to the background. But anyways, apologies for no video last Monday. Anyways, today's video is a big one, a very big one. Previously, I've done fact videos. I think I did 50 facts about 50 different countries. Well, I figured, you know what, the natural successor, the natural sequel, if you will, is one fact about every country. And that's exactly what we're going to do this evening. So, no more rambling needed. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Apologies if the fact about your country isn't true. I tried to fact check as many of them as I could, but it's close to 200 facts, so. But yeah, if you could leave a like, because it took quite a while to source these and organise them, so a cheeky little like before the videos even got going would be lovely. But anyways, this intro's definitely been long enough. Let's get on with the facts. So, we begin with Afghanistan. The national sport of this South Central Asian country is called Buzkashi and involves men on horses fighting over half of a calf carcass. Goat carcasses were once used but couldn't handle the pounding as well. It can get quite violent. Albania. Mother Teresa was ethnically Albanian and remains the only person from this European country to have won the Nobel Prize. In Algeria, Nobel laureate and famous existentialist Albert Camus was born in Algeria to French parents and began his career in the North African country. Next is Andorra. Straddling the border of France and Spain is the minuscule nation of Andorra, which, in its 1,000-year history, has never engaged in battle. During World War I, it was one of the first countries to declare war with Germany, despite the fact that it had no military. Since its demands were ignored in the Treaty of Versailles, it remained at war with Germany until the outbreak of World War II in 1939. Angola now. The wildly popular Brazilian dance style known as samba is rooted in Angolan circle dances. Antigua and Barbuda. Cricket is incredibly popular among residents of these islands, a holdover from Britain's colonial rule. And although the nation's population is low, it has produced several of the greatest cricket players of all time, including Viv Richards, Richie Richardson, Andy Roberts and Curtly Ambrose. Argentina now. Argentine Diego Maradona is one of the best soccer players of all time. He is so popular in his home country that some 120,000 people worship at the Church of Maradona. Armenia. Armenia is the only country in the world that requires students to take chess lessons in school. In Australia now, this continent/country is home to Uluru or Ayers Rock, a massive red sandstone formation in the Northern Territory that is sacred ground for Aboriginals. The world's first zoo, founded in 1752, is still in operation in Austria. In Azerbaijan, folklore and superstition reign supreme in this former Soviet republic. Beliefs include not lending money or bread at night and never hurrying off to a funeral. The Bahamas now, and although the country is located along the Tropic of Cancer, it has snowed once in recorded history, and that was in 1977. Bahrain, unlike in many of its Middle East neighbours, women are allowed to vote and run for office in Bahrain. Bangladesh is very warm, so warm in fact that the lowest temperature ever recorded was 2.6 degrees Celsius, which is 37.7 degrees Fahrenheit, just above freezing. Barbados, mongooses are a familiar sight on this Caribbean island. They were first brought from India in the 1870s to quell the rat population, but that effort failed, and now they're simply part of the island. Belarus is home to the largest and oldest preserved primeval forest in Europe, known as the Belovskaya Busha National Park. Smashed it. In Belgium, the airport in Brussels sells more chocolate than any other single location on Earth. I want to make sure I don't miss any countries out. Belize now. Would you believe there is a country where a rat-like creature is considered a culinary delicacy? It's true, and it's in this Central American nation. Gibnut is so revered in these parts that it was served to Queen Elizabeth II in 1985 during a royal visit. In Benin, snakes are revered so much in this African nation, so much so that they are welcomed into people's homes to eat, and there's a building called the Temple of Pythons that houses 50 royal pythons that tourists can visit. Bhutan is the only country in the world that measures its progress in terms of gross national happiness rather than gross domestic product. I love that. That is amazing. Bolivia is home to the world's largest salt flat, known as the Salar de Uyuni. Bosnia and Herzegovina, thanks to the work of an amateur archaeologist in the early 2000s, residents and government officials in this former Yugoslavian republic believe that a network of 12,000 old pyramids exist within the country's borders. Botswana is known for its successful conservation efforts and dedication to protecting wildlife, particularly elephants. The country's vast and diverse ecosystems such as the Okavango Delta and Jobe National Park provide safe haven for these majestic creatures. There are more uncontacted people in Brazil's portion of the Amazon than anywhere else on the planet, with the number of isolated tribes believed to be more than 100. Brunei is one of the only countries in the world governed by an absolute monarchy. Bulgaria claims to have accidentally created yogurt some 4,000 years ago. Faso now. Burkinabe revolutionary Thomas Sankara is known as the African Che Guevara, for his efforts as president from 1983 to 87 to rid the country of corruption and environmental degradation, while empowering women and boosting education and healthcare access. He was assassinated in 1987. In Burundi, agriculture is so important that 90% of the population depends on jobs in this sector to make a living. In Cabo Verde, due to repeated droughts in the 20th century, many Cabo Verdeans left the West African island nation for better opportunities. Because of this widespread emigration, the expat population is now greater than the domestic population. In 2015 in Cambodia, airborne laser scanners found vast ancient cities buried under the jungle near Angkor Wat in this Southeast Asia nation. Cameroon is often referred to as Africa in miniature, boasting 1,738 different linguistic groups and more than 200 national languages. Canada has the most lakes on the planet. There are more lakes in Canada than in every other country in the world put together. Central African Republic. This nation in the middle of Africa is one of the 3 least light polluted areas in the world, along with Chad and Madagascar. Speaking of Chad, this country is home to Lake Assal, which is one of the lowest land points in Africa and the second lowest depression in the world after the Dead Sea. Moving over to Chile, this South American country has only volunteer firefighters who are entirely unpaid. In 2014, a massive fire in Valparaiso sparked a debate about whether this arrangement should change. China has a tradition of nail houses. Nail houses, also known as dingzihu in Mandarin, are houses or buildings that remain standing in the middle of construction sites or redevelopment areas because the owners refuse to relocate or accept compensation for their properties. These nail houses symbolise the resilience and determinations of individuals who resist forced eviction or unfair compensation offers. Colombia. Caño Cristales, a river in this South American country, is referred to as the liquid rainbow and the river of 7 colours because of its many vivid colours created during the reproductive process of aquatic plants. Comoros, this African island nation in the Indian Ocean, is one of the world's most politically unstable countries, with a coup d'etat or an attempt at one happening every 2 years or so since 1975. So we got Congo, beginning with Democratic Republic of the Congo. Belgium colonised this nation from 1908 to 1960, and one of the leftovers from this period is an obsession with mayonnaise. Now we have Republic of the Congo, not to be confused with its much larger neighbour, the Democratic Republic of Congo. This African nation is home to what a National Geographic team dubbed the world's last Eden during a visit in the 1990s. They were in Park National Nuabale Ndoki, a swampy forested region teeming with flora and fauna. Costa Rica now, due to its location 8 to 12 degrees north of the equator. This country is always about the same distance from the sun. That means it has 12 hours of light and 12 hours of night each day. Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire. This nation is home to the largest church in the world. Basilica of Our Lady of Peace, completed in 1989, is measured 518 feet tall and covers an area of 323,000 square feet. Croatia. This former Yugoslavian republic on the Adriatic Sea is credited with inventing the necktie. During France's 30-year war in the 17th century, King Louis XIII, is that? No, XIII, hired Croatian mercenaries who wore a piece of cloth around their necks that the king was particularly fond of. In Cuba, the biggest source of revenue is not tobacco, sugar, rum or tourism. It's doctors. The country's 50,000 doctors working abroad bring Cuba some $11 billion annually. Cyprus, the Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite, is said to have been born on a beach in this Mediterranean Sea island nation. Built in 1410, the world's oldest astronomical clock, still in operation, resides in Prague, Czech Republic. Denmark. Bicycles are much more prevalent than personal automobiles in this European country. Only 4 out of 10 Danes own a vehicle, while 9 out of 10 own a bike. Djibouti. This small country in southern Africa once had a national soccer team, but it was dissolved in 2017 because of its continued poor results. Dominica. There is an opening called a fumarole on one of this Caribbean island nation's numerous volcanoes that shoots hot sulfuric gas into a 200-foot wide body of water, creating the world's second largest natural hot spring. Dominican Republic. Since being introduced in the 1880s, baseball has been an obsession in this Caribbean nation. Today it has the most foreign-born players in Major League Baseball. East Timor. After Portugal withdrew from the Southeast Asian island nation in 1975, after centuries of occupation, Indonesia invaded and held the country until 1999. In 2002, East Timor became the first new country of the 21st century. And now's probably a pretty good time to say sorry if I miss any small nations and stuff, or include nations who aren't nations, but I did get this full list of a pretty up-to-date website, and I know technically it's not an official country, but others would dispute it. But I'm not here to start a political debate, and I for one am certainly not an expert or 100% clued up on the politics of it. Just have a very basic knowledge, but I did include Palestine in this, I believe, later on, just because I feel like I've got a few viewers from Palestine, wanted them to be included. Simple as that. It's not deep, okay? Anyway, we move on to Ecuador. Mount Chimborazo in this South American nation is not the tallest mountain in the world, but it is the highest spot on Earth and thus closest to outer space. Bread was invented in Egypt around 8000 BC. El Salvador is the only country in Central America doesn't have a coastline on the Caribbean Sea. Spain has twice occupied Equatorial Guinea and is the only country on the continent with Spanish as its official language. Eritrea in North Africa gained independence from Ethiopia in 1993 after a 30-year war, yet it has not had an election since. Estonia is considered the most digitally advanced nation and a government in the world, and was the first to offer its citizens online voting all the way back in 2005. Eswatini, known as Swaziland or Swaziland. Swaziland sounds like a theme park. Until 2018. This southern African nation is one of the world's last absolute monarchies. King Mswati is permitted to take another wife every year if he so chooses. His predecessor, for instance, had 125 wives. The game is the game. Ethiopia follows a calendar that is 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar. So to them it is the year 2011. Firewalking on hot stones is an ancient tradition that started in Fiji. It's even believed that descendants of the first man to do so can still walk on hot white stones. In Finland, the baby box has been a Finnish institution since the 1930s, when this country's infant mortality rate was high. So since 1949, the Finnish government has given every expectant mother a cardboard box that their baby can sleep in, filled with essential items like clothes, sheets and toys. So good. Such a good idea. In France, it is illegal to name a pig Napoleon in the town of Lagny-sur-Marne. Gabon is home to the world's largest population of forest elephants. These elephants are a unique species and are not significantly smaller than their savanna counterparts. The Gambia, only recently did they switch from marbles to paper ballots for elections. The marbles practice started in the 60s as a way to avoid spoiled ballots and to make it easier for illiterate citizens to vote. Georgia is considered the birthplace of wine. The country of Georgia has a long and rich tradition of winemaking dating back over 8,000 years. Everyone who lives in Germany, even foreigners, can attend college tuition free. Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, who led this African nation's independence from Britain in 1957, is known as the father of Pan-Africanism, which sought to unite all people of African descent to create a politically independent continent. Ghana is the only African country that I've been to. In Greece, in order to avoid excessive wear and tear to its historic monuments, this ancient European country banned high heels at archaeological sites. Grenada, until the early 1800s, nutmeg production was entirely centred in Indonesia, but during the Napoleonic Wars, the British transplanted nutmeg trees to many other locales, including Grenada in the Caribbean. Spanish is the official language of Guatemala, but in addition there are 23 other languages spoken there. So, the rising global demand for cashews has been a boon for this small African nation. The crop accounts for 80% of their export revenue. Guyana, the South American country, has the unfortunate distinction of being the site of the world's largest mass unaliving. Gosh, okay, yeah, won't go into the details of that. I was going to say in the intro, I've kept these facts kind of like unique, weird and light-hearted. Evidently not casual mass unaliving. That's what you get on the AllSorts ASMR channel. You don't know what's around every corner. Okay, next up we've got Haiti. The Haitian Revolution, which lasted from 1791 to 1804, ultimately led to the creation of this Caribbean nation, making it the first country to be founded by former slaves. That could be a good Haitian Revolution could be a good topic for a video, actually. In Honduras, for decades, residents of Comayagua have celebrated Good Friday by creating ornate and colourful sawdust carpets in front of their homes that depict scenes in Jesus Christ's life. The Rubik's Cube was invented in Hungary by an architect who named it after himself. Iceland is known for being tops in a lot of per capita categories, but none is more surprising than Coca-Cola. Icelanders per capita consume more Coca-Cola than any other country in the world. India gave the world its sweet tooth. Although sugarcane originated in Southeast Asia, it was first chemically refined about 2,500 years ago in India. Indonesia now, no one knows exactly how many islands it contains. Indonesia attempted to count them all in 2017, but several differing figures still exist. Iran has 27 capitals. Iraq is home to the ancient city of Babylon, which is believed to be the birthplace of the Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Guinness is arguably this European nation's most recognisable beverage. We're talking about Ireland, by the way. When Arthur Guinness signed the lease for the brewery St James Gate property in 1759, it was for 9,000 years at £45 per month. Those terms are still adhered to today. Israel, this Middle East country, has a bright history with the tomato. Israel invented the modern cherry tomato, along with a variety that doesn't drip, one that's resistant to viruses, and another that doesn't spoil even after a week on the counter. Oh, this fact's about tomato as well. Italy, one of the most iconic foods in this European nation, is the tomato. But Italians have only been eating this fruit since the 1500s, when the Spanish conquistadors brought it from Peru to Naples, which at the time was under Spanish rule. Jamaica has no snow or winter-like conditions at any time of the year, but it does have what's arguably the world's most famous bobsled team. It first competed in the Olympics in 1988. There's a movie about it called Cool Runnings. Genuinely one of the funniest movies ever made. So good. Located along the earthquake-prone Ring of Fire, Japan experiences 20% of the world's 6.0 magnitude or higher tremblers annually. Earthquakes that size can and do major used as a filming site in movies including Lawrence of Arabia, Red Desert, and The Martian. Ancient Kazakhs are credited with domesticating wild horses. The Kalenjin tribe in Kenya produces the world's best long-distance runners. In one Berlin marathon a few years ago, male runners from this single tribe placed first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and women runners placed first, second, and fourth. Kiribati, now due to its placement in the Central Pacific Ocean, and the fact that its islands cover an area of 1.3 million square miles, Kiribati has the special distinction of being the only country in the world that's located in all four hemispheres. I feel like that's a really good pub quiz bit of knowledge. Kiribati, the only country in the world that's located in all four hemispheres. North Korea now, both men and women can only choose between 15 state-approved haircuts. Punishment ranges from small fines to imprisonment. South Korea, kimchi and rice are the two most important foodstuffs in this country. There's a common saying that if you have kimchi and rice, then you have a meal. This reliance on these two foodstuffs dates back up to 3,000 years. Kosovo, home to the world's first and only museum dedicated to the humble donkey. Located in the village of Kjakova, the Donkey Sanctuary and Museum of Kosovo celebrates the role of donkeys in local culture and history. That Loki sounds amazing. In Kuwait, there is a tire dump that is so massive it's not only the biggest in the world, but it can be seen from space. Kyrgyzstan, 20 times longer than the Odyssey by Homer, the Epic of Manas is considered the longest poem in the world. Laos now, during the Secret War from 1964 to 73, the US forces dropped over 2 million tons of ordnance on the Southeast Asian nation. That's equivalent to a plane load of bombs every 8 minutes daily for 9 years, making Laos the most heavily bombed country per capita in world history. The first time a conifer was decorated for Christmas in the style we know today was in 1510 in Riga, Latvia. It's believed that Jesus Christ's famous miracle of turning water into wine took place in Ghana, a village in the southern part of Lebanon. Lesotho has the special distinction of being the highest, lowest point in the world. It's the only country that's located entirely above 1,000 meters, or 3,280 feet. Liberia is home to the world's largest rubber plantation. In Libya, oil explorations in the 1950s uncovered a fossil aquifer in this African nation that is 40,000 years old and existed before the end of the last ice age. Liechtenstein, this tiny country sandwiched between Austria and Switzerland, is the world's top producer of false teeth. Lithuania was the largest country in Europe in the 15th century. Called the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, it included what is now Belarus and parts of Ukraine. largest freshwater lakes in the world, and it's famously referred to as the Lake of Stars. Malaysia. Sarawak Chamber on the island of Borneo is the largest known cave chamber on Earth. 2,000 feet long, 1,400 feet wide, and almost 500 feet tall. It is twice the size of Britain's Wembley Stadium. In 2009, the government of the Maldives held the world's first and only cabinet meeting underwater to highlight the impending doom of climate change. It was part stunt and part cry for help, and it at least succeeded in attracting media attention. In the town of Gao in Mali, one can straddle the prime meridian and have one foot in the western hemisphere and the other in the eastern hemisphere. One of Malta's island, Gozo, has a cave that is apparently featured in Homer's Odyssey. In 2011, the Marshall Islands, comprised of dozens of islands and atolls, created the largest shark sanctuary in the world by adding 772,000 square miles of space. The Marshall Islands nearly doubled the amount of protected ocean for the marine mammals. In Mauritania, the Richat structure, an uplifted dome that has eroded away, is located in this African nation. Often called the Eye of the Sahara, it's best viewed from space where it can easily be seen. Mauritius, the only known habitat of the dodo bird. Mexico, the Aztecs are believed to have built the Great Pyramid of Cholula some 2,000 years ago. Its base is 4 times larger than Egypt's Great Pyramid at Giza. But today, however, Cholula is mostly covered by dirt and plants. Federated States of Micronesia. The US Defense Department's Operation Christmas Drop started in 1952 on one of the many islands that make up Micronesia in the North Pacific Ocean. It's the longest running humanitarian effort by the Defense Department and now includes over 50 islands in the Pacific. The world's largest wine cellar is buried in Moldova. The Milesti Michi wine cellar contains nearly 2 million bottles, and the tunnel system housing them stretches for 75 miles. One of the things Monaco, a tiny country surrounded by France and the Mediterranean Sea, is most known for is its casino in Monte Carlo, but local residents of the country are barred from entering unless they work there. The laws date to the introduction of gambling in the country in the mid-1800s to save the nation from bankruptcy. Monaco wanted foreign money from this pursuit, but it didn't want its own citizens going into debt from gambling addictions. The national drink of Mongolia is called arag, which is made of fermented milk from horses, which are a revered animal in the nation. Montenegro, now the former member of Yugoslavia, is home to what's considered one of, if not the, world's oldest olive tree, Stara Maslina, which is more than 2,000 years old. Dating back to 859, the University of Caroline in least known university in the world. That's in Morocco. Mozambique now. Bob Dylan, known for his politically charged songwriting, released an album in 1976 around the time of this African nation's independence from Portugal that contained a romantic love song called Mozambique, celebrating the country. It's unclear why Dylan composed the song, as he'd never visited the country, and the timing of its release was roundly criticised. Myanmar. This Southeast Asian country is one of only 3 in the world, along with Liberia and the United States, that does not use the metric system. Namibia. The Namib Desert, from which this African country gets its name, is the oldest desert in the world at 55 million years old. Nauru. This 8 square mile island nation in the South Pacific Ocean does rank first in something, although it would probably rather not be the fattest country in the world. Nepal has no Independence Day because, unlike most countries around the world, it was never fully occupied by Europeans. It ceded 30% of its land to Britain from 1814 to 16, but the Brits were never able to conquer it all due to the country's treacherous terrain. The Netherlands male residents are the tallest people in the world. Their height on average is 1.838 metres. New Zealand was the first nation to give women the right to vote in 1893, a move that was followed 2 years later by its neighbour, Australia. In Nicaragua, the sky is so clear at night that stargazers can see 86 of the 88 constellations. The largest petroglyph in the world can be found in Niger. It depicts 2 giraffes, with the tallest one measuring nearly 18 feet, and it was created between 6,000 and 8,000 years ago. The Yoruba people in the southwest part of Nigeria are known for giving birth to more twins than anywhere else in the world, at a rate of 50 per 1,000 births. North Macedonia is the birthplace of the Cyrillic alphabet, which is used in more than 50 languages. It was created by brothers Saints Cyril and Methodius in the 9th century. In the 1980s, Norway started selling salmon, one of its major exports to Japan, because that island nation was facing a seafood shortage. The Norwegians even suggested using it in sushi and sashimi. In Oman, there is a women-only souk, an Arab bazaar, held every Wednesday in a small city called Ibra. On that day, men are not allowed to visit the souk or sell anything there. There's a small city called Sialkot in Pakistan that produces 40% of the world's soccer balls. I imagine probably not very humanely, but I could be wrong. Palau now, located east of the Philippines, Palau is a small island nation, and one of the only places in the world that adheres to a strict matrilineal system in which kinship is traced through the mother's family line. Women choose male chiefs and have the power to rescind that status. They keep the money, and the mother's brother is tasked with providing for her children. Palestine contains a small city called Bethlehem that, in addition to being the birthplace of Jesus Christ, celebrates Christmas 3 times a year. January 7th for Greek Orthodox, January 18th for Armenians, and December 25th for Catholics. From the top of Panama's highest point, Volcan you can watch the sun rise over the Pacific Ocean and set over the Atlantic Ocean on the same day. In Papua New Guinea, there's a tribe that still uses shells as its currency. Tabu is the money of choice by the Tolai Society, and while it's not easy to make, it's used like regular currency. Paraguay is the only country in the world where the majority of its population speak Guarani, which is an indigenous language. Peru has more than 3,700 species of butterflies, which is representing 20% of the world's known butterfly species. In the Philippines is home to the world's largest pair of shoes. Located in the Marikina Shoe Museum in Marikina City, the shoe capital of the Philippines, the giant footwear measures approximately 5.29 meters long, 2.37 meters wide, and 1.83 meters tall, which is 6 feet tall. The humble but delicious bagel was invented in Poland. It's not known exactly when, but it appears to date to at least 1610, possibly as far back as the 1300s. In Portugal, there's a small fishing village called Nazaré, north of Lisbon, where the world's largest rideable waves occur. It's believed the biggest ever wave was 100 feet high. No wonder Portugal is some of the most dangerous surfing spots on Earth. Qatar, in terms of the likelihood of a natural disaster, this Middle East nation is the safest country in the world. The man who invented the steam espresso machine was born in Romania in 1892. Russia has over 13,000 uninhabited villages. In an effort to improve cleanliness and hygiene, Rwanda has banned things like wearing sandals or going barefoot in public, and people aren't allowed to share straws. St. Kitts and Nevis now. Christopher Columbus named these Caribbean islands after himself. Kitts was the famous explorer's nickname, and the Spanish word for snow, nieves, even though snow is the last thing you'd ever find in a place with an average annual temperature of 82 degrees. St. Lucia in the Caribbean Sea is the only country in the world that's named after a woman. In this case, St. Lucy or Syracuse. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Western Hemisphere's oldest botanical garden is located within this Caribbean island country. Established in 1765, the gardens contain native flora and breadfruit trees first brought to the island from Tahiti. Samoa has a third gender called Fa'afafine. Apologies for butchering any pronunciation. Landlocked inside Italy, San Marino is an ancient and tiny country with one very famous honorary citizen, Abraham Lincoln. In 1861, Lincoln had just been sworn in as 16th US President, and is acceptable for men to maintain several households. Mecca, the holiest Islamic city, is located in Saudi Arabia. All Muslims are encouraged to visit it at least once. Because of its holy status, only Muslims are allowed to enter. On Sundays in Senegal, the waters of the Atlantic Ocean are reserved for sheep bathing. Sheep are a prized animal in the Muslim nation and are therefore very well taken care of. Serbia, this former Yugoslavian republic, was once the centre of the Roman Empire, and it shows. There were 18 emperors born in what is now modern-day Serbia. The most famous of these was Constantine I, who founded Constantinople, or Istanbul, and elevated Christianity to a state-level religion. The Seychelles. French pirate Olivier Levasseur is rumoured to have buried tens of millions of dollars worth of treasure on Mar, one of the islands that make up this country off the east coast of Africa. Since 1950, a father and son have been trying to find the loot. English is the official language in Sierra Leone, but everyone also speaks Creole, which is an English-based Creole language, so the various ethnic groups can communicate with each other. Singapore, an island city-state in Southeast Asia, Singapore printed its entire national anthem in microtext on the back of a $1,000 note. Slovakia, Bratislava, is the only capital in the world that borders two other countries, which are Austria and Hungary. Slovenia, bees are big in this country. Of the 2 million residents in Slovenia, some 90,000 are beekeepers, which is 1 in every 20 people. Some 5 to 10% of the indigenous population of the Solomon Islands have blonde hair. The gene that causes this is naturally occurring and totally distinct from the one that gives Europeans blonde hair. Camels are extremely important to the people of Somalia. Of the 14 million camels in the world, more than half are found in this country. There is a street in the city of Soweto called Vilakazi Street in South Africa that was once home to 2 very famous South Africans, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. Both won Nobel Prizes. In Spain there is a small village called Belchite that serves as a ghost town and a historical monument. During the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s, the village of Belchite was heavily damaged and nearly destroyed during the Battle of Belchite. There's a sacred fig tree in Sri Lanka that was planted from a cutting some 2,300 years ago and has been lovingly tended to ever since. The cutting was taken from the Indian tree that gave Siddhartha Gautama the enlightenment to become Buddha. In the Sudan, Dukan is a Sudanese tradition that involves a month-long series of smoke baths for brides-to-be that are intended to make their skin smooth and glowing for their wedding day. It's also used generally by women as a sexual enhancer. Nice. South Sudan now. This African nation is the youngest country Mount Cassioun, which overlooks the capital of Damascus, is said to be where Cain killed Abel with a rock before carrying his body on his shoulders for centuries. Taiwan has the highest density of convenience stores per square kilometre. Tajikistan contains the largest glacier outside of either the North or South Poles. Tanzania. Rock legend Freddie Mercury of the band Queen was born Farrokh Balsura in Zanzibar while it was a British protectorate. The East African island is now a part of Tanzania. In Thailand, there's an annual festival that pays homage to its many monkeys. During the Monkey Buffet Festival, residents of Lopburi provide 4.5 tons of fruits, veggies and candies to the 3,000 monkeys that live around the ancient temple of Pra Prang Sam Yot. That's so cool. Moving into Togo now. Togo. About 1/3 of the population adhere to an ancestral form of belief, including voodoo. In Lome, Togo's capital, merchants sell voodoo talismans known as fetishes. In Tonga, bats thrive on many of the dozens of islands that make up this South Pacific Ocean nation because they are considered sacred and the official property of the ruling monarchy, who are the only ones who can touch the flying critters. The limbo dance originated in the 1950s in Trinidad and Tobago. Tunisia is home to the ancient city of Carthage, which was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times throughout history. However, the interesting aspect is that there's an urban legend or myth that states if you take a stone or artifact from Carthage, bad luck will follow you until you return it. Turkey is known for its delicious desserts like baklava, but it also has a pudding called tavuk koksu that's made from, among other things, milk, sugar, cinnamon and shredded chicken breasts. In Turkmenistan, melons are so important to the culture and history of this country that it has a holiday dedicated to the fruit that takes place each August. Tuvalu, a collection of islands halfway between Hawaii and Australia. Tuvalu's largest source of income is derived from its country code domain .tv. The country has had several agreements in place since the late 1990s with companies that sell web addresses using the desirable suffix. Uganda now. This African nation is a birder's paradise. With more than 1,000 species, it contains 60% of Africa's birds and 11% of the world's avian population. Ukraine is one of only 26 countries in the world with a 100% literacy rate among adults. If you've ever dreamed of walking up to an ATM and withdrawing a gold bar, then head to Dubai in the UAE, where you can find such a machine. Tea is so big in the United Kingdom. Locals reportedly drink 165 million cups a day. Seems about right. I think we're into the final 10 countries now. United States. New Yorkers drink 7 times more coffee than people in the rest of America. And nearly 6 minutes long, Uruguay. former Soviet Republic. These include not placing bread upside down, as that's considered rude. Vanuatu is famous for something called land diving that inspired bungee jumping. Yeah, I think in an episode of An Idiot Abroad, I'm pretty sure Carl Pilkington does land diving with a tribe. It's so funny. Vatican City has the highest population density in the world. Residents of Venezuela cannot legally watch The Simpsons because their former president Hugo Chavez deemed it unsuitable for children. One of the top attractions in Hanoi, Vietnam is the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. Here you can view the embalmed body of the country's most beloved leader, known as Uncle Ho, who is encased in glass against his will. Yeah, Vietnam is my #1 country that I want to visit. I studied it for a full year at university. In Yemen, Shibam is a 16th century walled city that's known as the Manhattan of the desert, thanks to its impressive mud brick high-rises and grid layout. The first early human fossil ever discovered in Africa was discovered in the caves of Kabwe in 1921 in Zambia. The fossil's age is believed to be between 300,000 and 125,000 years old. And last but not least, we have Zimbabwe. As one of the biggest waterfalls in the world, Victoria Falls is quite impressive. The waterfall in the Zimbabwean side is so massive that the sound of water crashing down can be heard 25 miles away, and the spray and mist can be seen from 31 miles away. And that, my friends, is one fact about every country in the world. Hopefully you found this video super interesting and super relaxing, and if I have done my job properly, then you should be asleep or very nearly asleep, or at least very relaxed. But that is going to do it for tonight's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I am so tired after that one. I'm going straight to bed. If you did enjoy this video and you're able to, and you're not asleep, then please give it a like, and why not subscribe